There is a moment in a man's life when the world suddenly feels too loud, too chaotic, too hungry for his attention. And what he doesn't realize is that it isn't the world chasing him. It's his own energy, leaking faster than he can rebuild it. This is where the story begins. Right at the crossroads where a man either keeps bleeding power into the void or chooses to lock into discipline that rewires his destiny entirely. Hold on. Before we unlock the real power of semen retention, hit that subscribe button and join our Telegram channel, link in description. We drop daily wisdom, success tools, and energy secrets only shared there. Don't watch from the sidelines, become part of the movement. Most men never reach this point. They feel the tension, the restlessness, the pull of temptation everywhere around them. They sense something strange happening inside them, a quiet knowing that their potential is far bigger than the life they're currently living. But they ignore it because the world has trained them to stay numb, distracted, overstimulated, and disconnected from themselves. What they don't realize is that this is the greatest trap ever crafted. But then, there are a few men who hear a different call, a deeper one, a darker one, a more ancient one. It whispers from somewhere inside their chest, rising from one single decision that flips their entire identity. The decision to guard their life force instead of giving it away for free. The moment a man steps into semen retention, he finds himself walking into a territory he didn't even know existed. A territory where things feel sharper. Awareness feels louder. Presence becomes heavier. The air around him changes. Even people who don't understand why start noticing something is off. Or rather, something is awakening. When a man begins this journey, he doesn't just stop an old habit. He disrupts an old version of himself. The version that lived on autopilot. The version that kept losing battles he should have won. The version that was easy to manipulate, easy to tempt, easy to drain. Suddenly, that man starts to transform, not because of magic, but because he stopped treating his energy like it had no value. This is where the suspense kicks in. Because the world doesn't expect men to wake up. It expects men to remain consumers of content, of desire, of distraction. But the moment you pull your energy inward, you break the unspoken contract society has placed on your masculinity. You start operating on a wavelength that most men don't even know exists. You start to see how overstimulation has been sabotaging your potential for years. You realize how much strength you lost in moments you thought were harmless, and the truth hits with the force of a storm. You were never weak. You were simply never fully charged. As your energy rises, a new presence forms around you. Not loud, not aggressive, not ignorant. Something quieter, heavier, denser, more controlled. A sense of focus that can't be faked. A sense of groundedness that can't be taught. A sense of masculine gravity that women feel long before they consciously notice it. It's the difference between a man who is full and a man who is empty. People can sense fullness. People can sense hunger. People can sense direction. And people can sense chaos. You are no longer broadcasting chaos. You start broadcasting power. This is why women chase men who are on semen retention. Not because of a trend, not because of a rumor, not because of some mystical lore floating around the internet. They chase because women instinctively track stability, focus, discipline, and self-governance. A man who can manage himself is a man who can be trusted. A man who can control his impulses radiates safety. A man who protects his energy becomes unpredictable in the best way. He isn't available to every distraction, so his attention has value. And scarcity creates demand. The deeper you go into retention, the more you begin to understand that attraction isn't about looks. It's about frequency. It's about the way you carry your inner world. It's about the way you walk into a room with clarity instead of frantic energy. It's about the way your eyes stop darting around and start piercing through. It's about the way your body language becomes effortlessly confident instead of performative. Women don't chase the version of you that is exhausted from self-sabotage. They chase the version of you that rises above it. But everything starts with the internal war you fight long before anyone else sees results. The battle against cravings. The battle against boredom. The battle against that part of you that wants life to remain easy, numb, and predictable. Semen retention exposes every weakness you've ignored for years. Not to shame you, but to give you the opportunity to conquer it. Because the minute you conquer yourself, the world begins to respond differently. On this journey, you start to notice that temptation isn't just temptation anymore. It becomes data. Each craving shows you where you've been leaking discipline. Each urge reveals where your mind tries to run for comfort instead of growth. And instead of feeling controlled by the urge, you become the one observing it. This shift alone changes everything. You move from reaction to mastery, from chaos to precision, from drained to dominant. That power doesn't stay hidden. Your presence shifts. People, especially women, feel the difference instantly. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're no longer fighting yourself. A man in alignment is impossible to ignore. Retention builds you from the inside out. It reconstructs the architecture of your personality. It strengthens the spine of your character. It amplifies your intuition. It sharpens your vision. It makes your goals louder than your distractions. And whether you realize it or not, that makes you incredibly magnetic. Women chase men who chase purpose. Women chase men whose energy is not scattered. Women chase men who are selective with where they place their attention, because it signals maturity, direction, and self-respect, three traits that shape the foundation of true masculinity. And masculinity that has been earned, not performed, creates its own gravity. The deeper you go into retention, the more you start to realize that you were never lacking potential. You were simply operating at 10% of your battery, while the world around you kept distracting you from charging back up. But the moment you reclaim that battery, your life begins to evolve in ways that don't feel random. Opportunities appear faster. Focus sharpens. Work becomes easier. Creativity expands. Confidence stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural. You finally become a man capable of choosing his direction instead of drifting through life. And that is the version of you people chase. Retention also reveals something uncomfortable but necessary. Not every desire you have is real. Some are programming. Some are coping. Some are escape routes, dressed as entertainment. When you stop feeding them, the silence is terrifying at first. But after that silence settles, your authentic desires rise to the surface. Your real goals, your real standards, your real values. And clarity is the greatest masculine weapon there is. Women don't chase confusion, they chase clarity. As you continue the journey, another shift happens, one even more profound. You begin treating your energy like currency. Every thought becomes an investment. Every action becomes a vote for the future. Every urge becomes a test of alignment. And the more intentional you become, the more magnetic your aura grows. People feel drawn to you, even if they can't explain why. But you know why. Because you stopped bleeding life force into empty moments and started channeling it into becoming a more powerful version of yourself. And that creates a ripple effect across everything you touch. Work, fitness, relationships, ambitions, mindset, discipline, identity, everything upgrades, because the foundation upgrades. Because the foundation upgrades, retention doesn't make you better than other men. It simply makes you better than your past self, and that's the only competition that matters. Women feel this. They feel when a man is evolving. They feel when a man respects himself. They feel when a man is no longer desperate for validation. They feel when a man's energy is too valuable to waste. This is why they chase. Not because you're withholding something from them, but because you're withholding everything from things that weaken you. You become rare, and rarity breeds pursuit. As your journey continues, you'll start to notice that life rewards the man who guards his power. Not instantly, not effortlessly, but inevitably. Retention teaches you the art of restraint, which transforms into the art of abundance. The more you hold your energy, the more your life expands. Because the universe responds strongest to a man who commands himself first. Self-command is the highest form of masculinity. Women don't chase chaos. They chase a man who has mastered his own storm. And this mastery doesn't just make you attractive, it makes you undeniable. The kind of man who walks differently, speaks differently, chooses differently. The kind of man who becomes a force of nature rather than a product of society's overstimulation cycle. This is the path. It isn't easy. It isn't glamorous. It isn't comfortable, but it is transformative. It is the rebirth of the masculine identity that has been buried beneath years of wasted energy, forgotten discipline, and silent frustration. Retention awakens the man you were always meant to be. The man who can lead. The man who can build. The man who can stand tall regardless of the pressure around him. The man who is no longer driven by impulse, but by intention. And that man, once awakened, becomes unforgettable. Retention is not just a practice, it's a ritual, a restructuring of the mind, a rewiring of the nervous system, a reanimation of the masculine essence. And when you embody that essence, attraction becomes a side effect, not a goal. Women don't chase you because you seek them. Women chase because you've become the embodiment of strength, direction, presence, and stability, the pillars of true masculine power. And when you rise into that version of yourself, everything around you shifts. Your relationships, your environment, your opportunities, your mindset, your entire reality realigns itself to match your new frequency. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. All from one decision: protect your energy. The world may not understand it. Society may not encourage it. but your results won't be able to hide it. You will become the man people notice without speaking. You will become the man who moves with silent authority. You will become the man who commands respect by simply existing. Retention gives you back your crown, where it